The opinions expressed on this program represent the viewpoints of individual authors or contributors and do not necessarily reflect those of Troy University. This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
See your life. People want to see your life. They want to hear your life.
They do. They want to know who you are.
And because
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, are fortunate to have a very personable young lady who's running for Agriculture Commissioner, Christina McInnis from Baldwin County, and she's out running all over the state, and she's a very personable young lady. She and I were sitting here conversing before the show, and I had to stop her because I said, we're fixing to start the show, Christina. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Mr. Steve. I'm excited.
Christina were you born and raised down there?
I was born and raised in Alberta. Do you know where Alberta is?
Oh, yes, in Baldwin County.
Oh, home of the Sausage Festival. You ever been?
Oh, yeah. I never have been to it, but I do know a lot about Baldwin County. To show you my age, your county is probably the largest geographic county in the state. You may know that, whether it is or not. And we would study Alabama history in the 4th grade, all of us would at that era. You may do it now, y'all may have done it. But you see Baldwin County, it was known as being settled by German people and being potato growing. It was agriculture county.
Absolutely. We were agriculture based, so I'm double bred German. So my mom is a Kickler.
That's what the Warner name is, a German name.
And then my mom is Kickler. And so funny enough, if you're from Alberta, I have the Kickler nose. We're all marked by the same nose. So yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So
but when I grew up at Aunt Emma's house playing the piano. There was a German tongue. We prayed in German.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So I wonder what made Baldwin and Cullman that same way. Both those counties were settled by German people, and the rest of the state was mostly Scotch-Irish.
I know. I visited Coleman, and I walked in Miss Lydia's kitchen, and she had German pastries there, and I said, I feel like I'm at home.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I could make a mean Kipfel, too.
So your ancestry is German, then?
Yes.
On
both sides.
Is that right?
So the Kicklers are known as sweet potato farmers, and then the Warners were, the regular potato farmers. But yes.
Talking about that and agriculture in Baldwin County, and your family being deeply rooted in agriculture in Baldwin County, which makes sense. You know who else has very, very deep roots is John McMillan. Oh,
the McMillan family is everywhere.
They really do. They settled in Baldwin County before Alabama was a state.
Yes.
In that Bay Minette area. What's that area right above there? Above
Stockton.
Stockton, yeah. But I've had John on the show for years, numerous times, when he was agriculture commissioner, when he was treasurer, too.
Mm-hmm.
John was, but I knew him when he was in the legislature. And I knew him when he was conservation director. I served with Steve, his brother, in the House a long time, his twin brother.
So my favorite story of John and Steve is they were at our business one day, and they were both walking. And, seeing two twins together, they start smack talking each other. Look at your shoes. Well, what about your glasses? I mean, I was rolling. Their personalities with each other were hilarious.
Twin brothers?
Yes, and their personalities together were just great.
John took that conservation director. He was in the House when Fob James was governor. And then Steve took his House seat and stayed there 30 or 40 years. Mm-hmm.
And Steve did amazing things for school systems in our area, too. He made sure that the first-class pre-K grant got brought into the school system. Those two guys have done amazing things for our area and our state.
Christina, during that era, when John and Steve were growing up, Baldwin mostly was potato farming.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
I have pictures of my grandparents potato farming and going through. But see, that's actually some of the reason why we're turf grass farmers today, is because our farm had a major collapse, and we had all kinds of drought and then hurricane, and then, as you know, just on that Gulf Coast area, and the farm the crop production just collapsed. And back in the 70s, someone asked for some St. Augustine that they had on the farm, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, that's when y'all's family started doing side farming.
Mm-hmm. And funny story about that. So there were 6 boys, 2 girls, and
in your family?
Well, my dad's. So sorry.
Daddy's family.
So my grandparents, Lily and EJ, had 6 boys, 2 girls, and those boys could farm. They were amazing. But the farm was not touching the customer, and my grandma Lily said it's time for us to open a store, and she opened our first ever garden center and saved the whole entire company because she was able to connect the product, the agriculture product, to the customer right where they were shopping. Because they weren't shopping at the farm.
Isn't that interesting how that happened? So it was the 70s when your family got into sod farming, and they had a store there.
And now we have,
in Alberta.
Well, the store was in Pensacola, Florida, where all the customers were.
Oh, that's right. You opened a store in Pensacola. I know. Now, Christina, so you grew up in that business?
I did. I have a picture of me and Grandma Lily. I mean, I couldn't have been but maybe about 5 or 6 years old, just sitting right next to her, learning. And then half of my childhood was under a conference room table, fighting with my cousins. And then, you know, we were always trying to find some trouble at the office. Always. We cut the phone cords one day. All the phone systems went out. But that is what I appreciated is we were involved from customer service to conference room tables and thrown outside. And we played on limestone piles and everything. And then as long as I could walk, I was put on the back of a seed planter.
Now, do you have any siblings?
I do. So I have 2 other sisters, and then I have a brother.
Are they in the business?
My brother's in the business, and my sister Angela's in the business, and we all bring a different talent. And then my third sister, Kimberly, my baby sister, she actually is a project manager for Brassford and Gorey. She just finished Women in Sport for Clemson University. Very proud of her.
Isn't that something, does that tie, isn't your husband a road builder?
So,
bridge builder?
So he's a bridge builder. So he has McInnis Construction. So if you're on 65 and 85, I'm going to ask everybody go slow in the cone zone. No phones in the cone zone. Everybody slow down. That's a work environment for a lot of our family members and staff members. But my husband builds the roads and bridges. We do the farming. But at night, here's the funny story. We both come home with a pair of boots. Mine's been out in the fields, and his has been on the roads and bridges. But we're both working for Alabama.
Are y'all about the same age, both of y'all? Is he from Baldwin County, too?
No, he's a Montgomery boy.
Is he? McInnis?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
A city boy fell in love with a farmer's daughter.
Weren't they in the same business with that other family that builds roads and construction business here in Montgomery? I forget their name.
Newell's.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
He was in business with Newell?
Yes.
McInnis' were. The daddy of your husband?
Now, that was before my time.
Yeah. Now, did y'all meet at college or something?
We did. So this is a true story. I mean, it's a little probably too much, but, you know, might as well share some good fun and entertainment.
Yeah.
So we lived behind each other. And
where were y'all in school?
Auburn. And so I was homesick a little bit, just a
little bit. You
a
a freshman at that time?
I was a freshman. And so I've been raised on a farm where I'd walk outside and I had pet calves and I had animals galore. Well, I walk in the backyard and Timothy has a baby basset. So his roommate's Golston Foshee, who has a lot of apartments here.
Yeah.
And Golston had a baby basset hound, Sadie. And Timothy was out walking Sadie. And I, of course, just swooned over this little baby basset and had to go get me a little bit of puppy time. He invited me in. True story. I walk through his yard. I walk in and I introduced myself to all his roommates and I said, "It smells really bad in here." And he very politely said, "That's because you stepped in the dog mess and brought it in through the house."
Were you a freshman? He was like a junior or something?
A sophomore.
Sophomore. Well, now, he knew he was going to be in the construction business. He was majoring in engineering and all that.
He actually is psychology.
Is that right? So he didn't major in building at Auburn? The Foshee boy, what'd he do?
So he still has, he does all those apartment complexes here.
I know him,
yeah.
I know him.
And the reason I'm married today is because of Golston's, dog. So yeah, I love
Y'all
Golston.
got married after college? And
yes, we did.
And settled out down in Baldwin County?
Well, we actually settled here in Montgomery for a couple of years.
Did you?
I did, yes. And then he had some huge projects over in Mobile, and so he was always on the road. I mean, bridge builders are all over the state of Alabama. And so for me to help raise the babies, I kind of stayed close to home.
Well, how old are your children? How many children do y'all have?
So we have 4. We've been married 22 years. I have a 20-year-old who's in accounting at Auburn with a minor in ag econ. I have now a 19-year-old, and she just got admitted into civil engineering. So proud of her.
Is she at Auburn too?
She's at Auburn.
That's hard to get into.
Very hard.
I've got a friend of mine in Prattville who is a vice chancellor of the community college system, was in that group. They were like 60 or 90, and they're going to pick 30. And she's one of the 30?
She got in her freshman year, too.
Okay.
Yes.
That's really tough to get in that engineering program.
She takes after her mother.
So she's in engineering at Auburn then?
She's engineering, and then my third daughter, Charlie Ann, she is now going to be a sophomore in high school, and then I have Neil, who's entering into middle school. So, yes.
Well, how did you decide to run for agriculture commissioner?
Okay, so
Have you ever been in any office before or anything?
well, I was appointed as a commissioner for the city of Orange Beach, and that is when I figured out I loved being a public servant. You know, working in the private world, being in the family business, I've had great opportunities all over the nation, and then founded Agritech Corp right before COVID.
I read about that. Tell the viewers about that, if you would.
Sure. So basically, one thing about agriculture is you have a lot that is passed down by the generations, but it's really difficult to be able to have your dad sitting there all day, every day, pouring into you. And so I told Dad, I said, look, I want to basically take as much wisdom from you as I can and overlay it with software.
He's still living everything? Still in the business?
So what I did is pretty much tried to make my dad into software, but when I did that, we went to a bunch of land-grant universities and we pulled in how to write a prescription for people to take care of their lawns and gardens. Quick facts, you've got 129.9 million households nationwide. Over 70% are dissatisfied. It's a multi-billion-dollar operation, each household spending on average about $505 annually. And you've got a huge amount of dissatisfaction, a huge amount of misspent funds, and then on top of it, you have all of this misuse and abuse of nutrients, and it just washes off and it hurts the environment. So it's not good for your pocketbook, the crop, or in the environment. And so what we did is we wrote a prescription very much like farmers do. Look, do the right product at the right rate for the right reason. So you start with a soil test. It's kind of like you go into the doctor. Well, don't go tell me to do like a multivitamin. I could be iron deficient. It could be B12, you know, something of that nature. It's the same for the soil. So basically we do a deep dive on the soil. We know exactly what's going on. We pair it with what you're growing, look at your area size, and we do an algorithm and write a whole prescription and split the seasonal applications where you shop for your nutrients. Then at the end of the day, again, right product, right rate, right reason, just like the farmers. But a lot of the homeowners, that's an intimidating process for them because like farmers get 2 pounds of nitrogen, 3 pounds of, you know, such and such, and then your pH is 5.8, you wanted a 6.5, and how many tons of lime per acre and so forth. So we took all of that and simplified it so now shoppers can go into Lowe's, and I'm behind their brand, Stay Green, I power their Stay Green, and then also Site One, I power behind the scenes, I'm their Lesco brand.
What is your brand's name?
So in Lowe's, I'm behind the scenes, I power their Stay Green soil test kit, and then at Site One, I power their Lesco soil test kit, because they basically said, you're making it so easy for our customers to find the right answers.
That's perfect. Well, so you may have some of your children follow your family in that thing.
I never thought I'd ever be writing software, but here we are, because that's the way to make agriculture scalable and sustainable through generations. Because so many times people are making all these government overreach and regulations, but in fact, you just need to provide the right information. People want to do the right action, but give them an easy way to do it. And so that's what Agritech is doing.
So are you still on the Orange Beach City Council?
I am not. I'm now totally focused on the ag race. Yes.
So, but you're out getting around the state. I've seen you at several events. You know, you're getting around pretty good. What have you traveled? When did you start campaigning?
I think I kicked off around March, and I think with the Farmer Federation meetings, I put on about 20 pounds.
Have you?
Fried pork chops in Butler County last night.
They do feed you good. I've gone to several of them recently.
I know. I now have my son coming. He went to Choctaw County. He had found out we were going to Ezell's. He's like, I'll be joining. They gave him 3 plates of fried catfish, and I think they were going to send him home with some too.
That family, Ezell's, that one of those boys was in school with me. They're from Choctaw County.
Well, my son says it is the best catfish in the world.
It's supposed to be. Catfish Cabin was the name of the original thing, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Ezell's Catfish Cabin. They're a chain now. Well, tell me about campaigning around the state. What are you finding out about it? It's fun seeing the state, isn't it?
It's fun. And I can say, you meet some really great people in really great farms. So yesterday I was over in Dothan, got to go to Riley Creek. And this is a farmer who's been a poultry farmer for decades. And
in Houston County.
Well, yes, right there by Dale, right there by Dale, and it was Newville. And when I went into their poultry house, they were retrofitting it as a greenhouse, and they were growing hydroponic lettuce. They had retrofitted what used to be a poultry house, into this indoor greenhouse doing hydroponic lettuce, and they were going to be servicing 3 schools right there from their farm. And for me, that's huge because right now you've got, a lot of our children who are, really struggling to eat healthy. And so it's amazing to see farmers are very, when faced with adversity and hard times, they get real ingenuity sets in. And so it's really great to see that kind of stuff. So I love seeing that, being all over. I just had an invite to go over to a bee farm. I'm going to go. So I kind of say I'm having a little bit of fun along the way because touring other different farms, it's a lot of fun.
You're speaking to Republican and civic clubs too, not just the Alpha people. You make your time counting a county, don't you?
I do.
Like you just came from the General Contractors
I did. I spoke
Association
to
meeting.
AGC. They endorsed me. I greatly appreciate their endorsement.
Great.
Yes, and so you got to remember this race is statewide.
Is that the day it happened today then?
No, it happened a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But this is a statewide race, and this office impacts every Alabamian every day, and people don't realize that.
Explain it to our viewers then.
Okay, so the Alabama Department of Ag and Industries, that is what ADAI stands for.
There's a lot of employees out there too.
Oh, yes, hundreds. And so they're at the gas pumps. You've seen that little tag at the gas pumps. So that certifies that if you're putting if you gas up 1 gallon, you're putting 1 gallon in your car. And then, funny story, let me tell you a funny story. So going back to my kids, so Georgia FaceTimes me in the middle of.
Which one is this?
This is number 2, the civil engineer. And so they're doing this journey with me. She FaceTimes me with this classmate. Mama, I'm here with my classmate, and we know that we're going to be seeing your name on the gas pumps. And I said, okay, Georgia, well, we're going to need you to lower gas prices. I said, that has nothing to do with the office. So you've got weights and measures. You've got gas pumps. They're in the grocery store. So like we just had a Publix open up in our neighborhood, and that will be over the grocery stores. This office will be over the public school cafeterias. And I mean, not only, and of course, like the pesticide division, and then, you've got the state veterinarian, Dr. Frazier. So you have so many things that grow through this office. And I have to say, of course, agriculture built me, and it's Alabama's #1 industry. But in the state of Florida, it is second to the governor's office, considered.
That's right.
It's
it
a
is.
very powerful position. And I think in Alabama, we've gotten very comfortable with agriculture because it's what we've always done and we do it so great. We've kind of taken it for granted, but there's so many great things that we can really bring alive and really bring out to people because they just don't realize how much it impacts them every day.
Well,
we get caught up in our world,
You say it's, but really and truly, and I've said this in my columns over the years, the agriculture commissioner job is one of the most important.
It is.
It has more responsibilities than the lieutenant governor does. So when you say it's the second most powerful, important position in Florida, it may well be here in Alabama, as far as that's concerned.
Just think about it.
People don't realize they don't get the recognition that Florida does. But that gas pump thing's an interesting thing too, Christina. Those of us who've been around politics have kidded each other that that's one of the biggest name ID builders for people running for agriculture commissioner. And I knew that. And every time I traveled to Florida and to get some gas or something down there, I'd see on the gas pump the agriculture commissioner named Charles Bronson. And I thought, this guy had to get elected because he had that name. You'll be surprised how funny name ID is. If you're first on the ballot, it helps you.
So, and on top of it, so I'm a Warner, okay, and I think my dad has 100 first cousins. So I didn't even get to date till I left Baldwin County because I was related by one stuff. And so going back to name ID, I'll be talking to people even nationwide, and are you Warner? And I say, depends what story we got coming. And they'll tell me, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, are you Uncle Eddie Boy's daughter? Are you so-and-so? What's Norman? And I'm like, they'll start naming all these family members and everybody, and I just love it. That name ID, going back to it, it also brings some fun stories along
That's
the
why
way.
you always use that middle name, your maiden name, Warner, everything. Now, do you still have a lot of relatives in Baldwin County?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Going
yes.
back, how many generations did you have of German descent? How many generations you go back in Baldwin County?
So I'm a bicentennial member of Baldwin County. Just so you know, that's a big thing. I'm certified bicentennial. And we had to get that certification, you had to trace it back. So I went to the census data and traced it all back through all of the women in my family. And we settled in Alberta in 1906. and I am the 5th generation. And so when you look at all of the different layers, like my grandfather was one of 17. And
17 children.
17.
No wonder you got a big family.
I know. But you had to be breeders to have workers.
That's exactly right. People don't realize. I was telling my daughter that yesterday we were riding around, and I was talking to her. I said, you know, that people had to start school, and that's another story about Baldwin County. We're talking about her school, her children. She's about your age. She's got 2 school-age children. She says, I was talking about school. We used to get out of school. Baldwin County was such an agriculture committee county that I would have John McMillan sitting where you are, and I'd say, John, he said, we got out of school in the fall to pick potatoes. That's how prominent it was. We'd had to just cut out football practice.
And Dad would tell you he couldn't do extracurricular sports because he had to go milk the cows. Like they had to time various different things according to the farm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Over the years, I have had the agriculture commissioner sitting where you are. Rick Pates has been on, John McMillan. There's been some other agriculture commissioner list.
Charles Bishop, Ron Sparks.
Okay, I'd have Sparks on, but I had mostly John McMillan and Rick Pate. And I would always ask them every year. I remember when Pate first became agriculture commissioner, because I was curious, just sitting here curious, what's the ranking of agricultural products in the state?
Okay, so let's talk about...
It was poultry first. It
okay,
still is probably, isn't it?
Let's say you're looking at about $8.5 billion in cash receipts. Poultry is sitting roughly, and this fluctuates a little bit, but let's just say roughly about 6.5. And then you drop down, and then you got timber and cattle and so forth. But I mean, there's no...
Is timber right under poultry? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
It's grown a lot.
Yeah, well, we do well with that.
Do you know, I was having lunch with a guy whose family's in agriculture, and he's in trees, timber. But that was what I was getting around to saying is that, Christina, over the years, it would fluctuate. I mean, your industry, when I first started interviewing people who were agriculture commissioner, they wouldn't even mention side farming or landscaping. Mm-hmm. Now, it's all dominated that Mobile area. Is it because it's warmer down there, or what?
So we call Baldwin County the turf grass capital of the world.
That's what I'm thinking. It's grown so much that it's like one of the top 5 or 6 in the state now. And it wasn't when I first started doing this show.
Well, you got to look at the soil conditions, though. So like in Bonts Cure, you've got nice sandy soil. So things, the rain will, and nutrients will, it's a good circulation that goes on in Bonts Cure. Versus like we've had a farm down in Florida, Sebring muck, real stubborn soil and so forth. So a lot of your crops have gravitated towards the soil conditions. And I mean, Baldwin County just grows great grass.
Now some in Mobile County too, isn't there? Mostly Baldwin.
Mostly Baldwin.
People's mind, they think Mobile and Baldwin one the same. Mm-hmm. Is what you probably find that around the state, don't you? Mm-hmm. They think Mobile and Baldwin are all one
They
thing.
just call it the south end of the state.
Mm-hmm. They think it is. Mm-hmm. You're enjoying getting to visit people in North Alabama, though, aren't you?
Oh, I am. So Huntsville is just expanding like crazy.
It's unbelievable.
And then I'm looking forward to the Christmas shops at the Coleman, like all these different things and events along the way. Like I went to the Coleman Strawberry Festival, and they're like, well, you got to come back for the Christmas shops. And then you go to various different things, and and that's what's so important is agriculture is our #1 industry, but we really don't go into agritourism like we should because touring the state, it's really a great thing to experience with people.
You know what you're doing right now, whether you win or lose or draw or whatever, you will remember this year of campaigning and getting to know Alabama. It'll be the rest of your life.
It's been fun to get to know the candidates on the run with me, too.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, so Matt Friday said it right there. He goes, you're going to end up traveling with these people and seeing them time and time again. And it's funny because Pamela Casey she said, when this is all over, we're all getting together. We're going to draw out of a hat, and then you've got to do each other's stump speech. And I hope I get Derek Chin because him talking about chasing chicken. I hope I get his.
I've got to ask you about that story.
Him and Dorman Graves chasing chickens.
Yeah, that's right. He's been around all over. But you do have a lot in common with those Coleman people. And
that German heritage.
I tell you what you find out too, Christina. Alabama's a big front porch. Mm-hmm. You find out you'll be talking to somebody in Coleman. Like I'll give you an example. you'll get to visit with Caroline Dobson on the tour. You probably already know her.
Yes.
She'll be on y'all's tour with you because she's running for Secretary of State. Well,
and then you get to meet the kids too, and the husband, and the dog. I got to meet Caroline.
That
Caroline's dog.
You were down in Ledbetter's thing.
I was.
Yeah. That was. I saw them up there too. That's a must-go-to event.
Yes.
It's a must-go-to.
Oh, and I had to take my souvenir coffee cup with.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Ledbetter and Livingston made that thing a big deal.
It is.
This is the 10th year of that thing. But back to Coleman, like you get to know, like Lydia, she's Miss Coleman Alpha, and then her mama, they're twins,
Yes, yes.
So it's like you get to know people around the state that's what you're going to find interesting. And we ain't got about a minute left, but if you make your tour, make sure you go to that northeast corner of the state in the fall. That area we were at 4th of July, DeKalb,
yeah.
Jackson. You probably enjoy coming from the Gulf. You probably enjoy a different view of the mountains and hills. That area of Alabama, heading close to Chattanooga, up in DeKalb, Chiahaw up there. If you'll spend some time up there in the fall, I do my schedule to spend time there in the fall. That is the prettiest area of Alabama you've ever seen.
It's gorgeous.
The leaves up there are unbelievable.
Well, do me a favor, leaving me with this. Go check out my Facebook page. My kids chime in and tell their mama everything she's doing wrong, what she didn't wear right, why are you on a tractor, where are the strawberries you got from the Coleman Strawberry Festival. You got to go check it out and enjoy the comments.
I love it. Your children will tell you what they think. Well, and I wouldn't tell the whole world that, though. They don't care, do they?
They don't.
Well, Christina, I hate to tell you our time's up.
Okay.
We thank you for being with us today. Our guest tonight, y'all, has been Christina Warner McInnis, who is a leading candidate for State Agriculture Commissioner. She's from Baldwin County and been in agriculture all of her life. And she's touring the state, and our primary will be here before you know it. But y'all remember Christina Warner McInnis for Agriculture Commissioner, and thank you, viewers, for watching. And we thank Christina for being with us. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.